Lesson 4.3, Simplify algebraic expressions. We're going to start with some vocabulary. A coefficient is just a number that is multiplied by a variable. In the expression 2x, 2 is a coefficient because it's just multiplied by the variable x. A term is just a number, a variable, or a product of both separated by plus, minus, or equal signs. We won't see equal signs in expressions, but if you saw an equation, terms could be separated in an equation by an equal sign. For example, 5 is a number, so it's a term. Another example, y is a variable, so it's a term. Another example, 3xy squared is a product of a number 3 and some variables x times y, so it's also a term. In an expression, if these were all together, they would be separated by plus or minus signs. So like terms are both constants, or they're both variables that are the same letter raised to the same exponents. So for an example, 3 and negative 7 are like terms because they're both just constants. Y and 5y are like terms because they have the same variable, y, raised to the same exponents, which would be invisible ones. Negative 2x cubed and 4x cubed are like terms because they have the same variables, x, raised to the same exponents, 3. For example, we're going to simplify. Part A, we have 14a minus 5a. Notice that they have the same variables, a, raised to the invisible 1 power. So if we had 14 a's and we subtracted 5 a's, we would have 9a left. B part, we have 7y squared plus 8 minus 3y minus 1 plus y. We have some like terms that we can combine. We can do this a couple different ways. I like to just box in or circle like terms. Some people choose to gather like terms together, and either method is fine. So I notice that I have a 7y squared and a negative 3y squared. I always take the sign that's left of the term, and it's the sign of the term. And if I say 7y squared minus 3y squared, I get 4y squared. I also notice that I have a positive y that's just by itself, so I'm just going to bring it down. And then I notice that there are two constants. Positive 8, I'm going to circle it, and negative 1, I'll circle that. So I have 8 minus 1, which is positive 7. And I've simplified this expression. I could have wrote those terms in a different order. I could have written it as 4y squared plus 7 plus y. I could have written it as positive y plus 7 plus 4y squared. They can go in any order as long as they keep the sign of the term in the correct place, which is left of the term. C part, 4m plus 2 minus m. I'm going to box in those m terms. 4m minus m. That's like saying minus 1m. There would be an invisible 1 here. So 4m minus 1m is 3m. Bring down my plus 2, and this is simplified. We can't combine those terms any further because they're not like terms. D part, we have 6 times the group 5 plus n minus 2n. This is going to use the distributive property. The distributive property is going to multiply or distribute the number that's outside to each term inside the parenthesis. So in this case, we have 6 that is outside the parenthesis. It's right next to it. There's no signs between it. And we're going to multiply 6 by 5, and then we'll multiply 6 by positive n. So 6 times 5 is 30. 6 times positive n is positive 6n. Then we just bring down the minus 2n. Then we can go ahead and continue simplifying. Positive 6n minus 2n are like terms. 6 minus 2 is positive 4. And we can bring down that 30. And we've got 30 plus 4n. We could have written this as 4n plus 30. E part. 2 times the group x plus 5 minus the group 3x minus 2. So we're going to do distributive property. Over here on the left side, we have 2 times x, which is 2x. 2 times positive 5 is positive 10. And then on the right side, we have minus a group. Now, that minus sign actually has a number behind it. It has an invisible 1. So we can actually say, when we're subtracting each term, we're multiplying by negative 1. You could call it multiplying by negative 1, or you can call it subtracting each term, but what's going to happen is it's going to change each sign. So negative 1 times positive 3x will make a negative 3x. Negative 1 times negative 2 will equal a positive 2. So it just changed the signs. Now we're ready to combine like terms. I have a positive 2x and a negative 3x. 2 minus 3 is negative 1x. I have a positive 10 and a positive 2. 10 plus 2 is 12. I'm going to rewrite that because it's hard to see that yellow a little bit. Negative 1x could be written with the 1, or we could drop the 1. There's still an invisible negative 1x, or a 1 there. So I could write it as negative x plus 12, or I could write it as negative 1x plus 12, and they're both correct. I could have also written that as 12 minus x, or 12 minus 1x.